My brother and his wife treated me like garbage at their wedding because they thought my boyfriend would propose.
Why at their wedding?
So let me preface this by saying that my oldest brother, him and his wife are 5 years older than me, female 23, and I never had a close relationship and usually are at odds. By the way, this comes from Drive Reputation 7875 on the OKstorytime subreddit. So we do get along better now that we're older and don't live together, but almost every time I see him, he says some stupid out-of-pocket crap because he can't read a room to save his life. For instance, at my cousin's grad party, he made an announcement that he didn't clap for my cousin's ex out of respect for him and his girlfriend, including his girlfriend, who looked awkward as heck about it. No one knew what to say. They had a messy breakup due to her cheating after 2 years, until my cousin awkwardly thanked him and we changed the subject. That's just an example of him being a grown butt man doing dumb crap. Sorry, I do be talking crap about him when he makes me mad. Sorry for the cussing in advance. I'm working on my potty mouth, but I'm sick typing this, so I might slip up. His wedding was in late September and it's been bugging me ever since, and I finally decided I wanted to post online and get other people's views on the situation. He has been dating his girlfriend for many years, and when they finally announced their engagement, I was thrilled for them. I told my brother, let's call him Diego, to let me know if they needed any help. He replied, well, I can ask if Stacy has room at her bridal party, but she's got a lot of bridesmaids already. I said, that's fine. I didn't expect to be in the bridal party. I was just offering my help if you needed it. And he replied, I'll see what I can squeeze you into the ceremony, but I'm not sure. And I replied, that's fine. I don't want to be in your ceremony. I was just offering help if you guys needed anything. I had no idea how he misinterpreted my words, but apparently he was talking to my mom later about me being too pushy about being included. I didn't say anything about it because my mom explained to him for me, thank God. I hate confrontation, and while I get into fights with him often, situations like this always make me feel awkward. Anyways, a few months later, his fiance, Stacy, invited me to her bachelorette. I thanked her, but let her know that I'd have to see since it is out of state, and my finances were a little tight since I'm currently paying for school out of pocket. I do not recommend this. Now, this part is partially my fault because I procrastinated getting back to her since I would be really stretching it to go. My dad did offer to pay if I couldn't gather the funds since he thought it would be good bonding for the two of us, but I hate asking for money and I hate being in socially draining situations. And a long weekend with her and her sorority sisters who I've never met and doubted they had similar quiet personalities as me sounded as fun as waxing your butt. No offense to them, but I'm not a social butterfly and usually get overwhelmed with social anxiety even meeting one person for the first time. The minimum I need to have to pay for the flights and my share of the Airbnb was $500, which to grown people who don't make $15 an hour and aren't paying for school isn't much, but to me that was a lot of money. I had the funds though, but I hated the thought of spending it on a trip I didn't think I'd enjoy, and I was thinking there would definitely be other costs like gas, alcohol, food, etc. And the bill was rapidly getting bigger in my head. So I procrastinated on getting back to her because I didn't want to commit and I didn't have enough backbone to say no. But when making a trip to my younger cousin's high school graduation, she asked me if I wanted to do a road trip with her as a grad present. We would budget $500 total for a little over a week. I talked to my dad and he again offered to pay for the batch party if I wanted to just pay for the trip with my cousin. I agreed because the road trip sounded so fun and I really wanted to do that as a present for her graduation. This is where I effed up. I didn't tell Stacy. I got too wrapped up in work and figuring out the logistics of the road trip. It wasn't until I was on the trip with my cousin that she reached out to me asking me to please confirm whether I was going or not. I texted her a quick apology and let her know that my dad agreed to give me the money for it, so I would be going. She thanked me and I sent a quick text to my dad about cheap flights. That's when he decided to let me know that he was no longer going to be able to pay for the trip. Some financial things came up and he didn't have the extra money to cover my costs. And since I was already on the trip with my cousin, I no longer had the money to cover even the minimum $500 it would cost me for the flight and Airbnb. I immediately texted Stacey back apologizing and telling her that my dad couldn't pay my way, so I'd have to decline. She was not happy. Mind you, this was 1 to 1.5 months out, not like the week before or anything, but I still felt bad for saying yes and then immediately no after. She asked me to pay my share of the Airbnb since I was canceling, and she had split the cost evenly and was counting on my share $250. I felt so bad I agreed without thinking, and she said she understood that I was a working student and that I could pay her back in segments. I didn't want to stir the pot anymore and just agreed, even though I was immediately stressed about how I was going to have to budget for that on top of my school payments. But I told my dad what happened and that I would just pay her my share for the Airbnb. Luckily for me, he immediately told me no, and that it was unfair at her grown age to be asking someone younger than her to pay for something she never agreed to. He said a lot of other not nice stuff, but I'll try to summarize. He asked how many people were going, and then did the math and told me she'd have to ask for like $32 more from everyone else who are older and graduated with jobs. That's not a
big ask.
Come on.
It was like 320 and with the tight budget, yes.
Yeah.
$32
from older people. No. He said that it was his decision that I wasn't going since he'd told me that he would pay for me, and if she had a problem with it, she could talk to him directly since he was contributing several thousand to their wedding. He told me that he was probably just asking for me to pay out of principle for canceling. I then had to turn around and tell her, which I did in the nicest way possible. I tried telling her that with school expenses, every penny counts, and I couldn't pay for my share of the Airbnb, and apologized again and mentioned that the expenses should only go up by a little over $30 per person if she asked everyone else to chip in a little more. She responded, and I crap you not, it's really the principle of you canceling last minute, and it's not fair to me to have to go back and ask others to chip in more because you can't pay. And then said it was fine and she'd cover my share since I can't. I felt so bad about it for so long until I talked to my wonderful boyfriend and he asked me what I'd do in her situation if I was the bridesmaid and it was his little sister. I immediately said I would never ask her to pay. And that's when it clicked that I wasn't a horrible person. He reassured me that I wasn't in the wrong since it was over a month in advance and that she was just being a demanding poohead. He didn't say poo. And that if she couldn't ask her friends for $30 a month in advance, why was she friends with them? I love that man because I didn't think about it like that at all. But yeah, honestly, it wasn't like 50 plus that she had to ask for. We didn't talk much after the incident, and I tried to keep up friendly but distant relations after that. I was glad I didn't go on the trip since based off the pics, I would have had to get coordinating outfits and it looked bougie. Now, the last thing that bugged me was people told me what they were saying before and after their wedding. My other brother, who was one of the groomsmen and helped set up the day before, told me after the event that the two of them were talking about how they thought my boyfriend was going to propose to me and ruin their wedding. What?
Yeah,
the bride and OP's brother were like, OP's boyfriend's definitely gonna propose at our wedding, just based off nothing.
I don't understand this couple where they just like.
It's just they read things wrong.
Yeah, I think the brother's definitely the one that planted that seed.
Yeah. Now, out of everyone in my nuclear family, they know the least about my relationship with my boyfriend. Why they thought that, I have no idea. Well, yes, my boyfriend and I have privately talked about marriage since we've been dating for 4 years now. It's not something we've ever brought up with family. I have talked to my mom about it because we are super close, but I know she hasn't talked about it with anyone other than me. And she knows we're waiting to get engaged until we're graduated. So even if she did tell them, they still would have no reason to think he was planning to do it at a wedding. That's an ick and an immediate no. We both have better taste than that. Well, apparently they were telling my brother all of this, and she said if he did, she'd make a pregnancy announcement at my wedding and that she doubted mine would be as good as hers. What the F? Right? My thoughts exactly. My brother told them that he highly doubted that anything even close to that would happen at all and suggested they talk to him if they were concerned. But they didn't. And the two of us had a great time drinking and dancing and had no idea they thought he'd try to ruin their night. Then the day after, I got a call from my cousin. She told me that when she was helping them clean up the next morning, they were still talking about how they really thought he'd propose during the wedding.
Dude.
What? It didn't happen. And my cousin also told them that she never thought that would ever happen at all. Where that little thought came from in their dark little heads, I'll never know, but I was honestly embarrassed to hear that they were gossiping about me. My cousin really seemed to think that they'd probably been talking about it with their wedding parties too. I hate being gossiped about, and especially after I heard from my brother later about before the wedding, I just felt embarrassed and humiliated for some reason. I know it was groundless and no one in my family believed them, at least the ones who told me, and they probably mostly kept it to their wedding party. I just hate being gossiped about behind my back. I felt like her bridesmaids all kind of ignored me, and I just didn't mind them, but I hate the thought of anyone talking crap about me while I'm cluelessly being all friendly and nice. And I hated that they thought such rude things about my boyfriend and thought that either of us would want to ruin their wedding. I haven't really reached out to them, and they haven't to me, but I kind of want an apology. I should have said something as soon as I was told, but honestly, I didn't want to stir the pot or make drama. What's done is done, and if they were to apologize, I'd want an apology to my boyfriend more than me. Still, I didn't want to ruin their day after or honeymoon, and I'm supposed to be getting better at having more patience with their BS, but I wish I'd said something back then. I swear I've recovered so much from being a doormat to my abusive friends in high school, but it's still hard to speak up sometimes and confront anyone. I'm just going to have a much better wedding than them for 1/3 the cost, and my boyfriend wants security if they do anything dumb. I really think that's a little extra though. But you know it's never extra. Joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile.
I'm afraid that with everything said and done, and OP does, have a conversation and try and clear the air, they're still gonna at your potential
they're
wedding.
gonna do the pregnancy announcement.
They're gonna do a pregnancy announcement.
Anyway, that's my story. I was a bit tempted to bring it up when they visited for Thanksgiving and ask for an apology, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea since it was all the way in September and I haven't brought it up since. Am I making a mountain out of molehill for feeling so put off by it though? My brother just told me to let it go and shrug it off because he does stupid crap all the time, but I feel like at his grown age, he shouldn't be talking about his little sister like that. I'm sure this is long and rambling, and thank you if you had the patience to read this. I tried my best, but I feel like I have the bubonic plague right now and I need to sleep. There was a little bit of communication errors and stuff.
I think that's also OP calling herself out too. Where she's like,
so.
I'm really bad at, I'm a doormat, but I'm going to try and step up and not be a doormat. And that's good for you, OP.
But that's the end of that story. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.